So welcome everyone. We have a special guest this week, Sheila, and she's going to be talking about the ERS 425 Rocky Mountain trip. So I'll let her take it away.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. I think I know all of you here, but I am the field and lab coordinator for the Earth Science Department at UTM. And I'm currently on a parental leave, but I'm looking forward to returning the end of June. And today I'm just going to talk briefly about the trip that we take to the Rocky Mountains, part of the Earth Science 425 course. It runs most years during the fall reading week. It's run by Lindsay Shainbaum and Jochen Halfar, and they would have loved to have come, but the timing didn't work out. But you can contact them with any questions. They created this trip, and I've just been helping them with logistics. And you please feel free to interrupt me, any of you that are here in attendance with any questions. So the course is a capstone course. And what a capstone course is it integrates all of the knowledge, or what it aims to do is to integrate all of the knowledge that you've gained throughout your program, sort of the last final course, to tie together all these loose ends, all these maybe different siloed information, to pull it all together to really prepare you to become a professional geologist, whether you go into industry or into research or into something else. And I really like what Lindsay said. She said that you'll see connections across different disciplines that you hadn't imagined. And in the end, you'll be able to tell a truly integrated story about a particular region. And this is a skill that you can transfer to any part of the world. And hopefully many of you will go on to do that after this course. So as I said, the trip was created by Professor Shainbaum, that's her in the middle there, and Professor Jochen Halfar, and that's him on the left. And these two professors, I think all of you are fairly familiar with them now, but they complement each other extremely well on this trip. Jochen is an expert in paleo, climate settings, and all sorts of other things, and he's a very good field geologist. And Lindsay provides a tectonic setting. She's an excellent structural geologist. Both of them have extensive field work, and so they really bring that experience into the field trip and help you to figure out your own story, your own way of interpreting the Rocky Mountains. And I come from industry, so I worked in I did my undergrad at Dalhousie. I then worked in mineral exploration for a number of years. I then went and did a master's in mining engineering. And after that, I worked in ground control. So I worked in open pits and underground and helped them figure out stress issues. And all the while applying my geological knowledge to that. So I try to bring a sort of practical applied geology to my work with all of you. And I take care of all the logistics, making sure that we're all on time, making sure that the hotels, everyone's fed, all that good stuff. So what we do, what we're hoping to do again this year, I should say we ran the trip twice. The first time it ran was in October 2018. We ran it again in 2019. And then unfortunately we had to cancel it last year because of the pandemic. So this will be the third time that we're going to run the trip. And we hope to leave Friday, the Friday before reading week starts, the fall reading week. We usually leave midday or late morning. We fly to Calgary, and then we explore that area. And generally throughout the week, we travel west. And so we are going back in time geologically. And what we see is the rocks will change from shallow terrestrial sedimentary rocks, and then we get into deeper marine rocks. And then finally we get to the center near Revelstoke, and there's some deeply exhumed metamorphic basement rocks. And we'll get to see a wide variety of rocks, of very metamorphosed to weakly metamorphosed, very fresh looking sedimentary rocks as well, glacial features, modern day geomorphological features. And we'll get to see some cool fossils, particularly the first day we get to go to Dinosaur Provincial Park, and we'll see some very cool dinosaur fossils. At the end, we drive back to Calgary, we fly home. We usually get in that evening on Saturday, October 16th. So at the end, so you'll have one day at home with your fall reading week. And how it all works is, so we always stick together as a group. So we all meet at Pearson International Airport. We all fly to Calgary together. We rent 3 vans, and then we drive these 3 vans together in a caravan. So I drive one, Jochen drives one, and Lindsay drives one. And we drive to each stop, and we hike between each stop whenever possible. We prefer to hike if possible. It's really beautiful country. We move at a very good pace, at a pretty slow pace, because there's lots of time to look at the rocks, lots of time to talk about what's going on and interpreting the environment around us. We eat most of our meals together. So some of the hotels have breakfast at the hotel. We pack our lunches and eat on site. So often we'll be eating, we'll hike somewhere, we'll eat lunch, have a little lecture at the rocks, do our mapping, and then move on. And then we always eat dinner at restaurants, and you can eat in small groups. We can eat as a big group a few times. And we do that we usually do that after going back to the hotel. Sometimes we'll do it on the way home, depending on what the plan for the day is. I just wanted to recognize here that there's a lot of unknowns still going into this trip because of the pandemic. And so we're looking into other options. Maybe before we had 4 people in each hotel room. We might reduce that this year if that makes people safer. We might reduce the number of total students attending. We're still trying to figure it all out. We're just going to stay as flexible as possible and work with all of the students in attendance and just follow the advice from our health officials and from the university, and we'll stick together and be flexible together. But we're very optimistic that we can run this. The university, it sounds like the university is going to come back to in-person learning soon, and we'll be able to run these field trips again. So for registration, we need to know numbers now. So if you haven't already, you should send me an email. And in that email, could you just send your student number, tell me what year you're in, tell me what your major is. Yeah, and do that as soon as possible. The whole trip costs about $2,000 per person. So that's flights, hotels, any other fees for entering parks, that sort of thing. But the university and the department very generously covers a little over 50% of this cost. And so what we ask from students is to pay a $900 fee, and that's on top of your tuition. But we know this is a challenge for a lot of students. We're looking into ways to reduce these fees. We're trying very hard to figure it out. We're pretty optimistic actually that we can reduce this amount. And there are quite a few bursaries available. There's one bursary in particular that's through the experiential learning. I'm trying to track down more information about that now. Maybe some of you, have any of you ever applied for that? Those of you that are in attendance? No?
Yep.
You have?
Yeah, they actually give you a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
So,
did you give you the full amount? Or?
They gave me $1,000 actually for
Fantastic.
225, which is really nice. I was able to cover all the equipment that I'm still using now for like field trips and stuff. So I really appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, I also applied when I took 225. I don't remember how much I got, but it was a big help. I remember because I was kind of worried because I hadn't really gotten paid yet for my job and I was figuring everything out. But I also applied and I also got some money from it.
Okay. Do you mind, are both of you on OSAP or a similar provincial loan?
Yeah,
yeah, I have OSAP.
Is that what, do you think is that a requirement or?
I've heard of students who aren't on OSAP and they still got some money. Because I think that's what Paul said. So I think regardless, still apply and you'll get like some money. And every little bit helps.
I think one of the questions asked were eligible if you got money from OSAP. But in general, it was like, you know, like how much money, like, do you have a job currently? What are your expenses that are like as a result of this course, things like that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think, I mean, that sounds very promising. So I think we can bring that $900 down a lot between the bursaries and then the department is willing to help, especially this year. We recognize this has been a really tough year for most people. And we want everyone who wants to come to be able to come. We don't want, if finances is the thing that's holding you back from registering, please contact me. We will figure it out together. So all these fees, they cover all the transportation, all accommodation, breakfast, you get a field guide. There's some small additional fees. We can look into this too though, but it's lunches and snacks. So often what we do is you'll buy groceries with a group of people. It's like usually the people that your friends that you want to stay in a hotel with, and maybe one other person has a similar diet needs to you. We'll go to the grocery store, you can buy stuff for lunches. And so it's really up to you how you budget it. You can go really cheap if you want, or if you want, you can go all out, whatever you like, it's up to you. So, and we can help a bit with that too. And then a lot of people bought souvenirs. So maybe you can budget that for yourself. Alessio's nodding. So I think a lot of people bought a hoodie at the Glacier National Park, for example. Again, that's totally up to you. Is that right, Alessio?
Pins from national parks.
Well, that's fun. Great. These are this picture here is from the hostel in Lake Louise. I think the students, this is what they liked the most. But your accommodation is, we try to keep it as cheap, but also comfortable and safe as possible with every choice that we make. So Alessio, you guys had fun here, I think, don't you, at the hostel?
Yeah, I think you're right. This was the most comfortable place. I really love the hostel. They had like that little area there to relax. They had like a pool table, a few games and stuff. And like you can meet like travelers from around the world. It was really, really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, hostel, if you're traveling on your own in the future, hostels are definitely the way to go outside of this trip. And then gear. So it sounds like if you get the bursary, you'll get some help buying gear. The things that you really need, first of all, I will loan you all of the essential safety gear that you need. So your hard hat, sorry, my baby's in the background having lunch. You might hear him. The hard hat, a high-vis vest, compass, hand lens. You have a notebook. I'm gonna give you a new notebook to use. And we have a big printed field guide, a big binder with tons and tons of information on each stop. You'll need warm clothes. It goes from very hot. The first day is quite hot usually in the Dinosaur Provincial Park. You can see that's the picture in the middle there with the two people in t-shirts. And then we get up into the mountains and it's October. And there can be a lot of snow. So you can see on the left there, we're all quite bundled up and we're walking through snow. So you'll need a bit of everything. Layers are very important. I bring long johns, I bring a big sweater, a couple extra layers with shirts, waterproof pants, even snow pants if you want, or some thin snow pants. Definitely a hat, sunglasses, mittens or gloves. Those thin gloves are nice to wear under your mittens. You can take your notes. But the weather can be very unpredictable in Alberta and BC, in the Rockies during this time of year. So to be prepared for everything. Those of you that come, I will give you a very detailed list and I'll give you some samples like a minimalist list and a sort of maximalist list. I tend to bring a lot of stuff, which makes me happy, but you'll be able to see some examples. You do need some good boots and you can waterproof them ideally. So I always bring wax. You can use my wax when you're on the trip. But some good boots. If you get that bursary, I would spend it on some good boots. I have had the same pair of boots for 20 years. I put a new sole on them. You can get new soles for the bottoms of them, but it's worth it to get good boots for all sorts of reasons. And you just need a good backpack to carry your field guide and your lunchbox, ideally like a hard lunchbox that doesn't go smushed by the stuff you're carrying, and a water bottle, a good sized water bottle, like a liter. And then how the course works. So the whole thing takes place over the reading week. You don't have to attend any other classes. There's no classes before or after. The only thing you do have to do is before you go on the trip, each student will be assigned a presentation to give at the field site. So there's all sorts of different topics. What we've done in the past is sort of pulled names out of a hat, so we can do something virtually like that. And you'll get to pick from a list of topics. Alessio, do you remember what your topic was?
Yeah, I had the Rocky Mountain Trench.
All right, that's a good one, yeah. So yeah, there's like ones on turbidites, ones on, we did a new one on slope stability at the Revelstoke Dam. There's a number of different ones. So you have to prepare that, and you have to prepare a 1-page handout before we go, so I can print it and put it in our field guide. And then you'll give the presentation out on the site. When we go to each stop, there's going to be extensive explanations, a little lecture. We'll go through how to take notes. You'll collect tons of data. You're going to build a timeline over the trip, and you'll build a cross section of the Rocky Mountains as we go. So we build it together as a group, and it's up to you in the moment to make sure that's is making sense, and you're building it as we go. You'll be helped to hand in the timeline, the cross section, and there'll also be some activities that will help you to learn while we're there. Just some small activities that will help you put everything together. And those get marked on the plane, and you'll get handed them when we land. And then you will take all of your notes that you've taken, all of the handouts that your classmates did, all of the little activities that you did, the cross section and the timeline is the most important. And you will write a geological history of the region. And that will be due usually like 2 weeks after we come home. So the 1 week is quite intense, but it's not very onerous outside of that week as far as the course goes. So now I thought I'd go through what we do each day very briefly. Is there any questions about logistics or anything like that? Or Alessio, do you want to add anything that I might have missed? Or
I think the gear part's the most important. You need to make sure you have that stuff, because you can't just like go out and buy like your size or whatever. Even like water bottles, those are huge, because you know, one day in Dinosaur might be really, really hot. I think it was like 15 degrees, but then, you know, another day when we went up a mountain, it was like negative 15. So you need to like be prepared for all types of weather.
That is a good point. Yeah, there's really not a lot of opportunity to buy stuff at all. So yeah, you do need to come prepared. That's a really good point.
Just a quick question.
I'll just go through this just because it's, what's that? Did you say something here?
Oh, sorry, but I have a quick question. How do you be prepared but not be a pack rat at the same time? That was like,
it's so hard. It's so hard. So what I find helpful is I will send you, what we did last year was I think Jochen and Lindsay and I all sent out what we're bringing, like really detailed, like how many pairs of underwear and stuff. And detailed socks and everything. And then it just, so you can see, because some people like to bring more, and some people are happy just to wear the same thing all week. Like we're not, we do go out for dinner, but it's nothing fancy, you know. I like to have something that's clean to wear on the flight home. So I usually save something that doesn't stink for the end of the trip, and isn't, you know, a pair of jeans and a shirt or something that I just for dinner and the flight. But I'll send you, if you're coming, I'll send you a full list. But there is room. We'll have vans, and the maximum in each van, they're like 12-person vans, and the maximum I think is 5 in each van. And you can check a bag of luggage. So yeah, I mean, and we're not carrying our luggage on these hikes. Like you can leave your stuff in the van. So yeah, you can bring lots of stuff. There's not really an opportunity for laundry. So I would bring as much as you think you need. Yeah, I know it's kind of vague when you've never done it before.
Because I tend to be a pack rat.
And you can always, when the time gets close, you can feel free to send me an email and say, is this too much or is this too little?
Definitely expect that.
Yeah, no, we don't expect you to know all this stuff yet. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We won't tease you if you show up with a huge trunk or something. It's always amazing. Some people show up with just a backpack, and other people show up with like massive suitcases. So
that'll be me.
It's a lot of personal preference too. Okay, so the first day we go to Dinosaur Provincial Park. So it's about a 3 hour, I think, 4 hour drive. We actually go east of Calgary. So we go back we drive back east, and we tour this really amazing place that's just full of dinosaur bones. You're literally walking on dinosaur fossils on the bones. There's so many, and they're just falling out of the cliffs. It's really remarkable. And we get this man here on the right. I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but he's really great. And he gives a full tour, an explanation of what we're seeing. We look at some modern hoodoos and a neat fluvial architecture, and we get into like the foreland basin strata. And then we move into the Rocky Mountains. We get into the front ranges and the fold and thrust belt. We start talking about that architecture, and we move from the foreland basin. It transitions into marine and then to terrestrial deposits. There's a couple really beautiful outcrops that we see. This one on the right in particular is quite remarkable. All the strata is dipped, and we can do some great practice in measuring sedimentary structures and interpreting the structures. Yeah. And previous to that too, you'll see lots of oil workings, lots of the pump jacks going, and we'll see a couple sour gas plants along the way. And so we'll talk a bit about that too, about gas deposits. And on the third day, we go up and see the source rock, what a lot of people think is the source rock for all that oil. And it's up Jura Creek. And this is a really fun hike. It's a real challenge. We take our time, we stick together. It's wonderful, it's really fun. Last year, there was not much snow. The first year, this is from 2018 when Alessio was with us, and there was a lot of snow. It made it particularly challenging. Yeah, so last year there was more water, but less snow, if I remember correctly. Or sorry, 2019, yeah. But we hike up, we see these really remarkable Devonian reef complexes, talk about one of the mass extinctions, and talk about how that's the source for the oil and gas that is extracted in BC and Alberta. Day 4, we get to go up to the Icefields Parkway. We drive, it's a really remarkable drive. We get to see, we added in, last year we get to see one of the very few Mayfic dikes along the way. And we get to see this Athabasca Glacier and see some pretty amazing glacial deposits, and actually go and touch a glacier, which is really special. And we can see each year it receding. But, yeah, it's a very cold, wonderful, wonderful day. Day 5, we go into the transition zone. So we transition into older rocks, and these are the Cambrian age rocks. And we don't get to see the famous Burgess Shale. Hopefully a lot of you have heard of that. That's sort of where the whole Cambrian explosion was first discovered and established. We get very close to it though, and we'll see some pretty neat fossils in the area. More hikes, get to see, that picture on the left there is Lake Louise. And you'll see, so each day you can see Lindsay and Jochen, they're holding up a map here. For each stop, we have these big cloth diagrams, and you have the smaller versions in your field guide. But we use these cloth diagrams at each stop to try to explain what's happening at each stop. So your professors put a lot of effort into really making sure you are understanding what's going on, and it facilitates really interesting discussion between all of us. Day 6, we get to go to the anticlinorium. We get to do some really neat structural stuff. This is one of my favorite days. We get to see some very neat folding structures that are going on. We get to map some faults in the Sinclair Canyon. And then at the end of the day, we go to Radium Hot Springs. And anyone who wants can go into these lovely hot springs, so these naturally heated springs. It's just fun. And then on the last day, we drive to Revelstoke and we look at some metamorphosed rocks, and we learn more about the structures. We also take a quick visit to the Revelstoke Dam and talk about some slope stability issues and some applied geology. And you'll get to see the famous Rogers Pass. Then that's it, then we come home. So are there any more questions?
I don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Neela.
No, you go first. You go first. You go.
I have a question just because I'm interested about like the prerequisites, because like 325, like I know like Danielle and I and Neela as well, like we were planning to do 325 already by the time like 425 came around, but 325 didn't happen last summer. So
yeah,
like if it doesn't happen, like because like 325 is also kind of up in the air for the summer, so
it is.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, if this is your 4th year, well, like I can't guarantee anything from my position, but
yeah,
we will be very flexible. Like there's,
okay.
If you haven't done 325 first, we'll just take that into account when on the trip.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe we'll spend a little bit more time talking about mapping and stuff. We don't actually do a lot of mapping on the trip. So those skills that you learn at 325, you'll still need them. You'll still need to go back. Instead what we're doing is more like cross sections, like field sketching, collecting field data. But that exercise of like making a geological map, it's okay that you don't have that solidified, and you will learn that in 325.
Okay.
So I think it's okay. It's nothing to worry about. I don't just remind us if we forget or something, but I think I'm sure we can make an exception.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on the summer how things go, and yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's an unusual year. We're all trying to be as flexible as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's okay to do them in reverse. Okay. Not ideal, but okay.
Okay.
You'll be fine. Yeah. Anything else?
This is about 325. It's like almost like if 325 doesn't run, then 425 wouldn't run, or it's not.
No, they're totally unlinked. Yeah, they're totally unlinked. So 325 has its own set of issues. I know they've delayed it to August, but hopefully things are organized by then. There's all sorts of challenges with moving it, like logistically primarily. It can be a challenge. So but a lot of people think it will happen. But if it doesn't happen, like 425, I think 425 is more likely to happen because it's that much later. I think a big thing is most people have to have their vaccines. We're still figuring out how that might happen, but it'd be a much safer trip, of course, if you all and we all had our vaccines, and the places we were going, they were all vaccinated. So it seems like that rollout is more likely to have been completed by October than August. But we're all just guessing at this point.
Yeah, because I'm in an ROP right now. My ROP leader, his name is Alex. He is in Utah, and right now he's on like a field camp trip for a week. But the states definitely are different restrictions. But for them, I think they all did COVID testing on like a day, and then the trip started 3 days later. So they kind of like hoped and gambled that nobody caught COVID in those 3 days.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, we may have to do something like that. Like maybe rapid testing will become more available.
Like, I don't know, just like definitely the 325 is a little bit more problematic because there's a lot more factors affecting that. But like for the 425 trip, I don't know, like if we were to all get like COVID tested, would that particularly solve the issue of like the COVID scare?
Yeah, we don't know. Like as soon as we learn anything, we will share it with you guys. We'll keep you in the loop as much as we can. But unfortunately, like we're sharing as much as we know with all of you. We're just following advice from the same source that you're getting your advice from. Yeah. So hopefully we will be assured that we're trying our best, and we will put anything that we have in our power into use, whether if we get tests or vaccines, all those things, we will do everything we can to keep everyone as safe as possible.
Yeah, like I know it's like that you guys can't do anything about it, but in terms of summer like semester, I wanted to apply for 325, but then like for OSAP and stuff, I would have to apply for other courses. So if like 325 doesn't run, then like you're kind of stuck with those courses. But
I see.
Yeah, it just would have been like, I think for everybody, like planning wise, it'd be like really nice to know, even like for the profs and everything. But yeah, what can you do?
I wonder if you did wait, I don't know if it's the summer course or a spring course that you usually apply for 325. Do you know, Alessio? Like before COVID, was 325 a spring course or a summer course?
It's a summer course. It counts as a summer. So even when you pay the tuition fee, you need to pay tuition fee for everything over the summer, like the gym and everything. So
okay. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
No,
I mean,
okay.
I guess you could register and then kind of wait and see. Like we'll have a better understanding. You know, maybe wait to register and then watch the drop dates closely, and hopefully we'll know more.
No, that's
so
fair.
hard. I know.
Like the worst thing that could happen would be it being online.
Yeah.
Like that would suck. But yeah, there's nothing.
Taking 325 online, or?
Yeah, I think I heard the St. George campus did 325 online for the summer.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible. It's not ideal. Is that there's really something about going out and touching the rocks and you do it. But there's ways to do it for sure. We're all always trying to make people look more accessible. And for some people, they just can't get out at all. And so we're trying to find ways to make these virtual field trips, for example. But if you are able, and if you can find ways to make it more accessible for people, like the field is definitely, there's nothing really that replaces it. So yeah, hopefully you'll get to go. But yeah, maybe it'll be online. I'll definitely make sure that there's lots of communication. I've been talking to Dr. Ashwell about all these field trips and how they might go. So he was able to pull off 225, it sounded like, with day trips. So maybe we could do something like that if 325 doesn't happen. A combination of day trips and online. I don't know. We're making it up as we go.
I have a question, Sheila.
Sure.
Is your current capacity for this year, if it runs, going to be the same as the past years, or are you going to take less students due to COVID this year?
Yeah, we're hoping to run the same number of students. We have fewer students signed up right now than we were expecting. It's hard. Yeah, like maybe we will run it with a smaller capacity if it makes people safer. Like the big thing is the hotel rooms. And the vans too. Like there's a lot of close proximity. So we don't know. That may be an option. We're hoping that everyone that wants to come can come. And yeah, right now I think we've got 7 students signed up.
Usually
yeah,
take like
it would be
12
ideal to have more, but maybe this will work out with the safety planning. We don't know.
Sorry, I was also going to ask, because I also talked to Lindsay just about ROPs and things, and she also mentioned that there wasn't a lot of people contacting you about the trip. So like I kind of have 2 questions. Like if I talk to like my friends who are in the program and tell them to like email, is it too late? Because I think there was a date of March 5th. But if I tell people to reach out,
I was like, that was sort of, I just kind of made that, I didn't make it up, but I said it because I was worried people were just procrastinating. No, it's not too late. But the sooner you get on, the more likely that you'll get a spot. And yeah, if you're talking to your friends, please encourage them to apply. And if it's like, I suspect also it was just a financial part of it. Maybe it's just like the uncertainty that it's going to run. I think it's likely that it's going to run. And I think it's very likely that we can help financially.
And
you can pass that on.
Sorry, if there's not a lot of people, is there like a minimum amount of people signed up where if it's less than a certain number, it won't run? Or
so worst case, I guess worst case, say it can run, like there's no COVID concerns. Maybe what would happen is it'd just be just Jochen and Lindsay, and I wouldn't come.
Oh, okay.
So then we could number of vans or something. But barring a pandemic issue, the course will run, and like even if there's just a few people.
Okay, that's good. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, there's some assurance, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, please feel free to email me anytime with any questions. And Lindsay and Jochen are happy to talk to if you'd rather reach out to them. And yeah, it was really nice seeing and hearing from all of you. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sheila. We really appreciate you taking the time to come out and talk to all the potential students. In our next TUSO emails, maybe in the next 2-3 weeks, we'll keep your email, Lindsay's and Jochen's email in the section just so they can contact you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good luck on your test.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.